Hey,
So, hello, this is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Discover Brightside, the video podcast. And I am so excited at this time of the economic downturn, of all the uncertainty that's going on around us. We have to think about prosperity. I don't know if many of you know, but the gurus, the pundits, the psychologists have all said that in life, if you achieve like meet yourself, that's number one, and you love yourself, and then you meet a soulmate, and then you have children, and you have friends, and you have people around you that you love, and then you find peace, and then you have great health, and then you experience all these wonderful things about the world. You travel, you eat the foods that you want. That's all wonderful. But when you get wealthy and you have all the things that I've described, you reach a state of prosperity. Now, it doesn't mean that you could have $1 and that could be wealth for you, and $1 trillion could be wealth for somebody else. So, how you define wealth is up to you. But prosperity is what many people call your highest attainment of happiness, of achieving fulfillment, nirvana, whatever you want to call. And not everybody in this world gets to that point of prosperity. So we spent 2 days talking to experts, coaches, authors, people who have experienced wealthy people, and we asked them these questions. What is it about prosperity? So if you want to see all the sessions of the 30 speakers and the 12 sessions, they will be available to you when you subscribe to our channel. And we will make sure that you get to see all these wonderful experts. And we hope you will buy all the wonderful books, because one of my missions in life is to get people to read more, own more libraries, and buy books, so that we continue to get people to write books and we don't forget the written word. Of course, you can buy an audiobook, you can buy an ebook, you can do all kinds of digital formats, but the bottom line is the books. And so I have two books that I'm introducing. One is Silver Lining, actually three, and then Andy is here with his book, The High Road, and then he's got another book about real estate as well. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to our speaker for this session, Andy Heller.
Elizabeth, thank you. So what I'll do today is I'll give a really 1 minute introduction and then talk about the opportunity as I see it with respect to real estate and give some pretty powerful investing principles. So I started investing about 35 years ago. And on a whim, literally in '02, my real estate partner and I, we wrote a book. We got a phone call from our publisher 6 months later. I thought it was a joke. Fortune magazine wants to interview you guys. They got a hold of your book. We were interviewed by Fortune magazine. A few months later, our book got recommended among a top 5 resources for real estate investors. And that led to us taking our intellectual property, Elizabeth, for how we invest, putting it into basically a self-help kit and offering this for investors around the country. And for almost 20 years, I've had a side business where I do as many as 3 workshops per month around the country, teaching investors of all levels, newbies, intermediate investors, seasoned investors, how to invest, and teaching them our buy low, rent smart, sell high model. Before I talk about the market, if you want to connect, actually, you can go on Amazon, you can get one of my 2 real estate books, but I would actually recommend it's even cheaper and probably better. Go to our website at regularriches.com. That's regularriches.com. And for less than the cost of a book, you can actually attend a virtual workshop and take our course from the comfort of your home. That's the best way to learn. The book's good. You could do both, but for sure, I recommend to take the workshop and register at regularriches.com. So we're going to talk about why real estate and what do I see going forward. To be perfectly honest with everybody on the podcast, I don't think anybody is qualified, not me, not any expert, to come and say this is what the future holds. Nobody knows for sure. Okay, nobody knows how bad things might get in a correction. Nobody knows when or what might be the catalyst. Nobody knows that for sure. What I do know is that history tends to repeat itself. And if you look at since World War II, in this country, literally every 8 to 12 months, there's been a economic slowdown. And for real estate investors, that's been followed by a 1, 2, or 4 year opportunity to get property at generational discounts. So one of the things we do teach is for investors, for sure, buy consistently, but try to buy in bulk after resets because you can get properties at lower prices. Time you're investing. That's pretty wise. Same principle if you're buying stocks. Now, what is really interesting right now is the last reset we saw was the Great Recession in '08, but we're not 8 to 12 years later. We are now 17 years later. Why? Most experts feel that the reset that was due to happen got delayed because of COVID and all the money that was pumped into the economy by the government. I'm not going to make a political statement on whether we put in too much or not. That's not relevant. What is relevant is if you put $7 trillion into an economy, any softening that is going to happen in the stock market or the real estate market or venture capital market, any of the softening will be delayed. And that's what's happened. Now, why real estate and what do I do? What do I think is going to happen? We believe in real estate is the best way for investors to invest and where to put their money. Why? Well, I'm pretty conservative as an investor, and businesses fail all the time. So there's no guarantee if you put your money into stocks or specific companies that those companies, those stocks are going to do well. Businesses fail, particularly when economies slow down. I love real estate, and here's my philosophy, everybody, particularly residential real estate. Why? No matter how bad the economy might get, the family unit cannot divorce themselves from the need for a primary residence. So it's a certainty. So if the economy suffers and a family that was in a $800,000 home, they might need to downsize into a $400,000 home. The family who's in a $500,000 home may need to downsize into a $250,000 home. And sometimes even the families that were in $200,000 homes might need to go move into an apartment for a time. The point here, ladies and gentlemen, is no matter what happens in the economy, the need for a primary residence is an absolute essential, like sleep and food. So as an investor, I believe residential real estate represents an absolute great and conservative place to put your money. Why? Because people always have a need for what you're doing. And the business can't fail. All right. The worst case scenario is a family can't pay their rent. They move out and you bring in a family that does. So what we have taught for years is focusing on buying bank-owned foreclosures and how to get them before they pop up on MLS and you're competing with homeowners. And particularly after economic resets, the percentage of properties on the market that are bank-owned skyrockets. As an example, after the Great Recession, in some communities, the percentage of properties that were bank-owned that were on the retail market were between 25 and 40%. That's a massive number. Today, that number is between 1 and 4% in most communities. Just putting that in perspective. The way we've chosen to buy properties is the dominant way to acquire properties below market after resets. Now, once purchased, we teach how to flip the properties, how to wholesale the properties, and how to roll them onto a rent smart lease option, where you lease purchase the properties and the sale sometimes happens a bit down the road. And if you've done this right, you actually make more money with that method. So this is in short, Elizabeth, what we've done for years. And I've enjoyed for 20 years teaching investors of all levels of experience this method that was recommended by Fortune magazine. So why do I travel? Why do I teach? I've got other successful businesses. Well, probably I would say the number one reason is today now, since I've been doing it almost 2 decades, I'm returning to real estate investors associations around the country where I've been two, three, or four times. Almost every time somebody will pull me aside and say, you know, Andy, I got your system about 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I've done X number of deals thanks to you. And because of you, I was able to put my kids through college. Because of you, my husband and I got a second home. That is probably the most rewarding part of what I do, Elizabeth. The other thing I would say is a lot of investors, let's just say the way to invest in real estate exposes the investors to, let's just say, people that are struggling. A lot of ways to buy properties. You're buying from individuals whose lives are falling apart. Kind of what we do, it's all feel good. We buy from banks that don't want the property any longer. The individual family has already lost the home. They're gone. So we don't have to deal with families whose lives are falling apart. We're buying properties from a business that doesn't want the property in the first place. And then if we don't flip the properties, we offer them on a lease purchase. And without getting too granular in detail, the typical family that needs a lease purchase is they've got a family, they've got kids, they want to stay in a community, but they don't have the cash or credit today to buy a home, but they don't really want to throw their money away renting. The lease purchase gives them a chance to rent today and fix their credit, save their cash, and buy the home down the road. They can lay down roots. So what we our specific way to invest, not only is it extremely lucrative, because that was what was profiled in Fortune magazine, but it's kind of a feel-good investing. You're not hurting anybody, you're not taking advantage of people, you're buying from businesses, and on the lease purchase, you are helping a family achieve the American dream down the road of owning a home. And again, one of the really rewarding parts of this model, I got letters in my library from families thanking me for helping them become a homeowner. Along the way, we made some good money and a great profit, and we never took advantage of families. So, the other thing I would say, which I think is very consistent with the theme of your podcast and your audience, Elizabeth, there are so many ways to make money, everybody. So many ways. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to sleep at night and be proud of yourself as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother, as a business partner. Um, and you want to be able to look back on your life and be real proud of how you conducted yourself professionally. Our real estate investing, we've made tons of money. I've been able to open up businesses specifically because of the money we made with our real estate investing. Some years, even though I'm a successful businessman, I made more money in my 2 or 3 hour a week part-time job than my day job. But we've never had to take advantage of families. I'll give you one more quick example. When we lease purchase, we give the family 3 years to buy. Many times at the end of the 3 years, the families have been unable to buy. They didn't have the cash or credit necessary to buy. And most investors, what do? Oh, this is great. The property's gone up in value. I'll kick out that family because they didn't close in their 3 years and find another family. In our 35-year career, we've never done that one time. If a family needed more time, we always have given them more time. Now, I'm also an investor. I'm not in the business of charity. We take the original agreement and roll it into automatic renewals, and the price goes up in the renewal. But it's the consummate win-win, everybody. The last property that was purchased by a lease purchaser, they were there, I think, just under 7 years. So they were in their third or fourth renewal period. So we got a bit more for the property. They knew they uh, they were able to keep their option to buy. They didn't have to uproot the family just because they couldn't buy in the 3 years. They were so grateful for us. We made some great profit. We had no worries, very few phone calls over the 6 or 7 years that they were there. Again, it was one of the best examples of making money in a win-win opportunity. So this is what we do, Elizabeth. And I've got to say, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've been teaching this at regularriches.com for almost 2 decades. And I would say to all of you, listen to this podcast. Uh, where, what do I think is going to happen? I do believe the economy is going to slow much further than what's happening right now. Um, Now, I don't know what the catalyst will be. Maybe it will be a global event we don't know of. Maybe it'll be slow and gradual. You look at past recessions, there's they all happened differently. So I do believe that we'll see a softening. I do believe that properties prices will go down, and with that, there'll be incredible opportunities for investors who are ready to capitalize on that. And you buy a bunch of properties when the values are low, interest rates are low, and then you put them all on lease purchase and the you ride the recovery, not just in the economy, but in the prices on the properties you bought below market. And if you're doing this under a lease purchase, you're doing this in a manner that will not be taking advantage of other people. Now, what should you expect? Well, if you do this and you become a significant investor in real estate like us, you will flip some properties for some quick cash. You will hold some properties and sell them under the original 3 year term. And a lot of these properties, the families will need more time. And if you follow our counsel and give them that time, you'll make even more money. You just have to wait a bit. And you're not going to believe what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyhow. The second property we ever bought over 34 years ago, the original family is still in there, still with the right to buy, and which we haven't pulled from them, but they haven't bought yet. So they're in 31-year renewal. When I talk about this in my seminar, people say, Andy, why haven't they bought? The answer is, I don't know. They can clearly afford the rent. I don't know, but I don't care. Again, it's a consummate win-win. If this family ever buys, the price has been going up every year, but it still will be a bit below market. For us, it's gravy. They paid off our mortgage ages ago. The property was on a 15-year note. I haven't paid a mortgage on that property in over 17 years. But that's not uncommon. We have probably over 66% of our portfolio today, the same family's been in there longer than a decade.
That is a
It's,
great
it's
story. That
yeah.
is, wow. I've had another story like that. I used to live in Westchester, New York, and there was a woman who lost her home, and she was able to get back in, and she's still renting it too, but she's in her father's house. I think that is such a great story, Andy. And I just think that the way you've approached it, that you're not a shark or taking advantage of people, but helping people, and also that you've written a book and you're giving good advice to people to invest and how to invest correctly. I think it's phenomenal. It's really amazing what you're doing. And I want to thank you for coming on our show and sharing this very valuable information. So if you want to be a homeowner, get with Andy and his investment group and look for properties that are in foreclosure or bank owned or something that you can get at an undervalue. So when you buy a house, you have equity in it versus buying a house with no equity. So Andy, thank you for this valuable advice, and Andy will be back to talk about his second book about divorce later, and we'll make sure the videos are available to you as well. So Andy, do you have a website? How do people reach you? How do they book you? How does it work?
Yeah, the best thing to do, everybody, is to go and register at our education company, regularriches.com. Okay, there you can get some freebie products just for registering. As I suggested, the best way to learn our model is for less than $10. You can buy a recorded full day workshop where I actually teach over 7 hours. You want to, my advice, everybody, pretend you're live and take the seminar from the comfort of your home. And that will give you a good sense of our model. And you'll be able to ask yourself the $1 million question, is this something that I could see myself doing? Is this a good fit for me? And if it is, then certainly during the seminar, we guide the students as the best way to get the intellectual property and the experience. But the easiest thing to do, put your toe in the water, everybody. I mean, you can get our book, but the seminar is less expensive and it's better. And it really, you roll up your sleeves and you will be challenged to, we'll walk you through step by step how we invest. And that would be my recommendation, Elizabeth.
So make sure you put it in the chat as well, Andy, so that I can make it available with the videos when I share them. So if you're watching this video on Facebook or LinkedIn, take advantage of Andy's website, which is a wealth of information, and get his book as well. And if you do get his book, write a review so that we know that you're paying attention. So thank you so much for this, and we really appreciate this valuable advice. And get prosperous, guys. You got one life to live. Make the most of it. Get wealthy. And people have gone wealthy during depressions, and so you can do it too. So come on, get on board. Make sure you watch all our videos. Get inspired. Get empowered. And you are on Discover Brightside, the video network. Thank you for watching.